This is what it is, okay? I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
So Bruce Lee is talking about being like water. And this philosophy, it really meshes with the yoga philosophy as well. So the idea is that we don't have to be hard and rigid to be powerful. Okay, power comes from being fluid and dealing with any and all challenges that come our way. So water is also really persistent, it's strong, it finds a way through or around anything. So it can penetrate or circumvent even the hardest of substances. So the idea is we can persist with what's right. And even if we're coming across a wall, right? If we keep coming up against something that's stopping us, if we keep being like water, right? Eventually, hopefully, we can find a way through. So water can also change its shape, its speed, its direction. It can take on many forms, right? So he mentioned it can take the form of a cup or a teapot, but it can also take the form of a river, a wave, a waterfall, right? So it suggests letting go of rigid beliefs. The idea of impermanent, being open to the idea of impermanence, the idea that things change, they're constantly changing their shape, right? And so it allows us, if we see the view from, if we look at the world and we see it from different perspectives, that fluidity allowing us to meet new realities. And then water can't be broken. So it's about being on the right side of history, rising to the times and meeting the challenges that we face, and recognizing the strength of both individuals and groups. If we're more like water, if we can form and we can be like water, seeing how we can influence the world around us. So what was really interesting about Bruce Lee is that he was dealing with racism and stereotypes towards Chinese people and actors in the 1960s. But like water, he really persisted. And he found his way through on his own terms. So at all odds, he changed the stereotypes and showed that non-whites could be welcomed and that, as stars and heroes in Hollywood. And he changed the stereotypes of how people viewed Chinese people. So we can use this idea of being like water with all that is going on today, whether it's to do with COVID, whether it's to do with Black Lives Matter, or anything else, right? We're trying to use yoga to release from the stiffness of the body and the mind, the rigidity of what we think. They're just thoughts, they're things that we have learned growing up from society, from our families, from friends, whatever's going on, right? But those rigid thoughts are not necessarily reality, they can change, right? So even when we're doing yoga, when we practice these things on the mats, instead of being rigid about thinking about how a pose should look or how it should feel, see if you can just be open to just allowing it just to be how it is for your body. And we're going to then also, so we're going to focus on transitioning between poses, having one pose dissolve into another pose. It's more flow, more fluidity today in class. So that's what we're going to play with. So let's get started. We're going to start by lying down on your mat. So you can find a comfortable pose just lying on your back. And you can have your knees bent a little bit if you like, or you can have your legs flat straight down, your choice. And just placing one hand on your belly and the other hand on your chest. And you can close your eyes here if it feels good. And just first of all, just noticing how it feels good to be lying on the ground. feeling the different parts of your body pressing down into the mat. And then you can slowly begin to focus on your breath. And we're going to breathe through the nose. And as you breathe, see if you can move your hands with the breath as though it's like a wave. So you inhale and your hand on your belly lifts up with your breath as your belly expands. And then your chest expands and your other hand moves. And so you fill up your lungs and your belly, and then you exhale, letting go of the breath in your belly and in your diaphragm. So you're moving your breath like a wave, like water. If you know Ujjayi breath, that sound, the breath that sounds like a wave, then go for it. It's that constriction at the back of the throat. Otherwise, just breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Taking a few deep breaths. Really seeing if you can lengthen the breath, really slowing the breath down, making those waves as long as you can, rising and falling with your breath. See if you can make it smooth, the breath, like a wave. And then you can release your hands and just relax here. Pausing for a moment, just noticing how your body feels, how your mind feels. So you can keep your eyes closed if you like. You can place your thumbs and touch your pinky fingers. So the pinky finger in the hand is supposed to represent the water element. So you can just bring those connected, the thumb and pinkies. And then you can bend your knees and bring your heels hip width distance apart and close to your seat. We're going to move with the breath. So on the inhale, the arms, still with the thumbs touching the pinkies, the arms are going to come all the way up and overhead, lifting through the hips, and exhaling, calming on down. So it's with your breath, it's like a wave again, just the smoothness of the water. Breathing with your breath, or moving with your breath. You can have your eyes closed or with a soft gaze, just finding your movement, getting warmed up, moving the spine with your breath as fast or as slowly, but as fluid as you can. And then releasing here, we're bringing the legs up into waterfall pose. So the feet are pressing up towards the sky. If it's hard for you to keep your lower back on the ground, bending the knees a bit. Here we're going to inhale, reaching fingertips towards the toes. Exhale, reaching through, straddling the legs. So we're going to move with the breath. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reaching through with your breath. So again, the form is not so important, just breathing and moving. One more time. Knees come into the chest, giving your legs a squeeze. Bringing your feet about the mat's width distance apart and moving the knees from left to right with your breath. So you're just letting the knees drop to one side and then to the other. One more time in both directions. Back up to waterfall pose here. The arms are going to come over to one side and then moving them up and over to the other with your breath. Now the thing is, you can move with, imagine that you're moving your arms through water, so there's a little bit of resistance there and a little bit of fluidity. And you can have a bit of creativity too. Water's also about creativity. So moving here, noticing where you feel it in your body. And then bringing knees into chest, rolling from side to side, giving your lower back a little massage. And then you're going to move from forward to back as well, rolling the length of the spine. So you're going to start by just coming almost to a seat. Just doing a couple more of those. And then we're going to change it up a little bit. And as we come up, we're coming into Baddha Konasana, reaching forward. So rolling, opening the knees and reaching. Being like water. So finding some fluidity here. And then coming into boat pose. So we're now on the water, trying to keep the back really straight. So you might find your toes touch the ground or you lift one leg or the other, that's okay. And then feeling maybe some choppiness in the water and moving from side to side. So it's just playing with these concepts, finding some movement. You can do some weird arm movements, it doesn't matter what you do, you're just playing. Taking a breath on each side as you move. Excellent. And then you're going to grab onto your big toes. So we're coming into a seated frog pose. So it's a variation of frog pose. The feet, the knees are bent, the feet are, or you've got your big toes and you're opening up here. So frog. And if you want, you can play with straightening one leg or the other, so that becomes more bare. But you want to try and keep your back super straight. So there's some play here with water, with the water element. So you can play and see what happens. Breathing here. If you have enough space, you might even play with coming down, up, or we got stuck. Or you can do, I don't know if you remember when you were younger, or if you're still young, where you come into circles with your body and going around. So I'm getting a little stuck here, but just playing and seeing whether that's fun, something fun to play with. Excellent. We're going to then bring the feet together, coming up, seeing if we can come into a variation of a squat here. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out all the way up. Exhaling, and one more time. Finding that, seeing if you can find that balance. This is really hard. You can come into something else that feels better. We're coming into a twist here. Finding openness here. Trying to find balance, being kind. If it's not working for you, it's okay. It's just a pose. One more time on each side. Finding that flow. Excellent. Coming back to center. Hands are going to come down. Knees are going to come down. We're going to come onto hands and knees. Fingers spread. Finding some movement with your body here. So maybe your hips are coming from side to side. Maybe you're going to come into some circles here. And then if you're coming into circles, we're going to make sure we do one side and then the other. The other option is maybe you come into figure of 8. So there's lots of options. So it's finding that creativity, finding that flow. seeing what your body needs. Excellent. So making sure you've done both sides or both directions if need be. And then you're going to come to center, right leg coming out, pressing that foot up, bending the knee. Exhale, rounding through the back. Inhale, foot up. Exhale, rounding here. One more time, pressing up. Exhaling, rounding. So we're going to press the foot back out. Exhale, over to the right elbow. Inhale, pressing out. Exhale, left elbow, so it's a little twist. Inhale, press out one more time on this side, right. Inhale, out. Exhale to the left. One more time with that foot up, bending the knee. And exhale, rounding the back, stepping the foot forward. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center here. Hands are going to come down here. Inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, lengthening the front leg, keeping the foot on the ground. Inhale, reaching forward. Exhale, this time you're lifting the toes up, so you might need to have blocks or books, or otherwise you just come a bit higher up, that's fine. Inhale, pressing the knee forward. Exhale, you're coming back all the way over the heel. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming forward over that leg. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale again, lengthen through that front leg. Inhale, pressing forward. Exhale, lifting toes. Inhale here, bending. Exhale, sitting back on that leg, on that foot. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, reaching forward, folding. Coming on up. We're going to take the front foot and we're going to move it over, coming into a pigeon pose, Ekapada Kapotasana, so that we're trying to find evenness in the hips so that we don't want to fall down on one side or the other, trying to square them off to the front. So maybe while we're here, we can even put the hands down and move a bit from side to side, finding that fluidity. And then maybe we're coming down a bit, maybe still having the arms up and coming from side to side. So it's slightly different, this kind of movement, than the sort of yoga poses that I normally do. So just notice how it feels, whether you like it, whether it's good for you, how it feels, just letting go of what you think my classes should be and just allowing for something different today. Moving from side to side, however that feels, noticing how this feels, and then slowly bringing hands back up, tucking the back toes, calming back into plank for a moment and down onto the knees, calming back into some kind of fluid motion. So you can come into circles again, you can come into cat-cows, whatever feels good, whatever your body needs or wants right now. Excellent. Couple more breaths and movements, so making sure you've done both directions. And then you're going to lift up through that left foot, bending through the knee. Inhaling here. Exhaling, rounding through the back. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, press. Exhale, round here. Excellent. Pressing that foot back. Exhaling over to the left side. Pressing it back. Twisting to the right. Inhaling it back. Left side one more time. Inhale back. Exhale to the right. Pressing it back up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, rounding through the back. pressing the foot down on the ground, reaching forward and all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center and down to the ground. Inhale, opening through the chest. Exhale, lengthening through that front leg. Inhale, pressing forward. Exhale, lifting through the toes. Inhale, pressing forward. Exhale, sitting back on that other foot. It may feel strange. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, finding a forward fold. Inhale, pressing forward, reaching the arms up. Hands are going to come to heart center and then hands down to the ground. Inhale, opening through the chest. Exhale, lengthen through that front leg. Inhale, press forward. Exhale, toes lift. Inhale here. And exhale, sitting back on that leg. Arms reach up with the inhale. Exhale, folding forward. Bending through that front knee again. We're going to find a pigeon pose here. So the foot's going to come over to the right side. Opening through that hip. Trying to find some evenness through the hips. So that's your first job. And then you can find a little bit of movement from side to side. Just notice how it feels. It might feel quite good because you might be able to find spaces that need a little bit of help or need a little bit of movement to get you a little bit more deeply into it. And then you can bring your hands to the sides in cactus if you like. Tent your fingers and move from side to side as you come forward, taking a couple of breaths. And then slowly finding your way up. You can put your hands on the ground, spreading the fingers, coming back, plank pose. Excellent. So from here, we're going to press back, downward facing dog, and you can play with bending one knee and straightening the other. So a little bit of movement like water, fluidity here, making sure your back and your arms are straight and getting length through those. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to inhale, coming onto the tiptoes, and then we're going to bring the shoulders above the wrists. So we kind of got a rounded back here on the tiptoes, and then we're going to lengthen out into plank. So I'll show you one more time. So you're going to be in downward facing dog. You're going to come onto your tiptoes, round through your back, bringing your shoulders over the wrists, and then you're going to come straight, so it's a bit like a wave. Knees come down, chest and chin comes down, elbows pinned to the side. Inhale, scooting your chest forward and up. Excellent. You can then find some movement here as well with your top part of your body. Moving from side to side. Excellent. And then you're going to press yourself back, downward facing dog. We're going to try this again. Coming onto tiptoes. And then we're bringing shoulders over the wrists with a rounded back. And straightening everything out in plank, pressing the heels back. Knees, chest and chin, coming down. Elbows squeezed in. Inhale, reaching forward and up. This time the fingertips can tent out to the side, so you're just on the fingertips. Elbows up, and then you can come up, inhale, and you can look around your left shoulder, around the right shoulder, and maybe back again on both sides. Coming into center, hands underneath, or either side of the chest. Coming up, pressing back, downward facing dog here. This time we're going to come back into this rounded wave, so lifting through the heels, shoulders over wrists, coming into plank. And we're just going to turn on the edges of our feet and come into side plank. You can always drop that left knee if you'd like, or the lower knee. finding a side plank on this side, bringing it to center, and then you're just turning on the edges of your feet, going the other way. You just want your hips lifted up here. Breathing, coming back to center. We're going to bring that right leg up behind us. Exhale, rounding through the back, stepping that foot forward. And we're just going to move here back and forwards, maybe even getting to the point where we straighten through that front leg. Breathing here. Finding just a little bit of movement, fluidity. Excellent. And if you like, once you've got that front leg, maybe lifting the right arm up, placing the right arm down, maybe lifting the left arm up, bringing it down, switching the legs. Left leg is going to lift up first, taking a breath here, stepping it through, and then finding that movement. Inhaling forward, exhale, lengthening. Just moving back and forwards on the back toes with your breath. And then on this next lengthen, maybe lifting the left arm, maybe bringing that down and lifting up through the other arm. Bringing that down, that left foot coming back to meet the right. You can bring the knees down, coming into a child's pose. Taking a breath here. You can still find some movement in this pose, so maybe moving from side to side with your hips. Just breathe just a little. So you're just gently moving your hips from side to side. So it can be really comforting to have that small movement. Taking a breath here. And slowly you're going to come all the way up. You're going to still come into hands and knees again. I'm just going to move so I have a little room. And you're going to tuck your toes and come into a downward facing dog one more time. And then walking your feet up towards your hands. So you can breathe, just walking your feet up towards your hands. Yeah. And then moving your feet a little bit further apart so you're in a bit of a straddle. Taking a breath here. And you're just going to fold forward. And as you fold forward, you can bend one knee and then the other, finding a little bit of movement here and fluidity. Now you can be really like a rag doll here, so you just let your head just relax. And then you can bend your knees a little bit as you roll all the way up like a wave, coming up to standing. Excellent. Here we're going to take the arms up and then we're going to move the arms all the way down to one leg and we're going to go in a circle, coming all the way up the other side. So just coming a few breaths like that, where we're moving in a circular motion, imagining that you're in water now, so you're feeling the resistance as well as you move. And once you get to the top, we're going the other way. Breathing here. Exhaling as you come forward. Inhaling as you come up. Excellent. And then we're going to turn the toes out to the side, coming here into a goddess pose, but we're moving with fluidity here. So you can move from one side to the other. Maybe we can bring one arm down, reaching over, but even then, finding a little bit of movement here. Letting go of any resistance. This movement can help you to get a little bit more deeply into the pose even. Moving through center here. And then coming over to the other side. can reach over just a little bit more as you work. Excellent. Inhale, calming back up. And maybe this time you're playing with lifting through the heels. Maybe the arms can come into a bit more creativity. Maybe it feels a little strange to be having more creative movements. That's okay. Taking a breath here. Hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, calming on down. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, calming on down. Excellent. Inhale, we're going to come up one more time. So we're going to reach over we're going to come into warrior two legs towards the left. So the left foot is forward. Inhale, reaching forward. Arms come tick-tocking up and down. And you can then play with reaching that top arm up. And then inhaling, calming on up, switching legs. So right foot is forward this time, reaching forward. Arms tick-tocking both ways, maybe playing with reaching left arm up. Excellent. Bringing the arms back up. We're going back the first direction, reaching here, coming down, finding that movement. Inhaling, coming up, other side. Breathing, moving, finding some fluidity here. Toes coming in one more time. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling, reach. Exhaling, hands to heart center. And making some movement here. Inhaling, calming on up. We're going to this time bring the toes to the left side, bending through that front knee. The inhale, reaching forward, arm comes over, reaching overhead. And again, you can find maybe a little bit of movement, just gentle, with the legs in this pose. Inhale, calming on up, and coming in the reverse warrior here. Inhale, reaching up, switching the toes, bending through the knee, coming down, finding the fluidity that you need. Reaching up, maybe finding a little bit of movement. Inhale, calming on up, reaching in the opposite direction. Excellent. Toes coming in towards each other. You can heel toe the feet towards each other. Hands to heart center. Again, you can close your eyes, but find a little bit of movement here. Maybe from side to side. And in fact, you can open your eyes, and we're going to put the hands on the hips and just come into some fluid circular hip circles here. In one direction. And then we're going to calm in the other direction. Calming to center. We're coming into a tree pose here. So even though trees seem to be fairly rigid, they actually are quite mobile, right? They move, even though their trunks are down in the ground, they actually move with the wind. So finding a bit of movement here, trying to keep that stability, and you can do all sorts of whatever you want to do with your hands and your arms. And maybe here bringing the hands behind the head and just bending over to the right side with that arm, noticing how that feels. Inhale, calming on up. Again, arms are going to reach out and up. Exhaling, hands towards the heart center. Bringing that knee in towards you, giving yourself a hug with that leg. And then gently placing it down. Other leg comes up. Finding that stability with the legs, but finding the fluidity with the top half of the body, moving here with the wind, or you can imagine you could be like a piece of seaweed in the water. Breathing here, finding a point of focus. You can always have your hand against a wall as well if it's too much to find movement and stability at the same time. Hands behind the head, and you're just going to move over towards the left side. Finding that stability. If it doesn't work out, if you feel wobbly, that's okay too. Breathing here, finding that openness inside. Great. Inhale, calming back up. Hands come to heart center for a moment, squeezing that knee in and placing it down. Palms can come out. We're coming into Tadasana, that mountain pose. Closing the eyes, but we're still going to find some motion. So maybe just moving from side to side a little bit. Deep breaths. And then opening the eyes, we're going to come into dancer's pose here. So again, trying to find some fluidity here. So you're holding on to the inside of your foot. You're seeing if you can press that foot back behind you, arm coming up. And again, you can find any kind of movement you want here. So it's a little harder. You might just have that one arm. Maybe you bring your thumb and your pinky together in the sign for, on the mudra for water, and then you can move it around or do whatever you like. Breathing here, one more breath, and remember, it doesn't matter what this pose looks like. Let go of the rigidity of thinking it should look a certain way. Other side, just flowing into it. Finding that inside of the foot, pressing back, finding a wall if you need to, thumb and pinky touch it, finding some movement, whatever that might look like. Taking a couple of breaths. And releasing here. One more time, calming into your Tadasana. But with some movement, whether it's movement with the arms, with the legs, just letting go. But finding some movement, maybe also finding movement with the shoulders. Inhaling, shoulders up. Exhaling, bringing shoulder blades towards each other and down through the back. So we'll do a few of those. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, shoulder blades towards each other and letting go. Excellent. So you're now going to come to the top of your mat. We're going to do one last standing series and then head down to the ground. So we're going to lift through that right leg, inhaling here, stepping it back with fluidity, with thought, and bringing the arms up, hands touch, maybe a little back bend here. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching back, pressing down and back with the arms. Exhale, folding over that front leg, lifting through the arms, opening the shoulders. Inhale, calming on up. Arms come up. Exhale, little side bend over to the right. Inhale, up. And side stretch over to the left side. Inhale, coming up. Great. Exhale, hands to heart center, reaching forward here. Exhale, twisting, finding a nice twist. Just for a breath here. Inhale, bringing the hands back up, coming to center. Inhale, coming open to one side. Exhale, center. Inhale, open the other. Exhale into center. Really slowly, with fluidity, bringing that back leg back up. Inhale, bringing it up to center. Exhale, kicking it forward. bringing that foot down, taking a breath, closing the eyes with a bit of sway, side to side. Inhale, lifting up through that left leg. Exhale, with slow moving it back. Inhale, bringing the arms up, the little back bend here. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, bringing hands in a different connected way, so different thumb on top, interlacing, opening through the chest with the inhale. Exhale, folding forward, lifting up through the arms. Inhale, coming back up. In, bringing the arms all the way up. In, exhale, we're going to come over to the left side, a little side bend, side stretch here. Inhale, coming through center. Exhale, over to the other side. Inhale, coming through center. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, twisting here. So you can always have the back knee down, lifting up through those arms, opening them up if that works for you. Hands come back together. Inhale, coming through center. We're going to take an exhale here before lifting up with the inhale. Very carefully. Inhale, bringing up. Exhale, kicking out. And releasing. Back into Tadasana, palms out. Closing the eyes, just slowly rocking side to side. Deep breaths. Now we're going to open the eyes. We're going to come down. You've got two choices. You can either come here into a squat pose, pressing the knees out, and again you can move from side to side. You can have your mat rolled up underneath your heels, or bring cushions underneath the heels if that feels better. Other option, if you want to play, you might not want to, you can play with coming into crow. So your fingers are spread wide. You're going to lift your butt up, bringing the knees into the armpits, or you can squeeze them on either side of the arms. Now if you want to, if you have books or blocks, you can have blocks piled up in front of you, and you're trying to make a triangle with them. And so maybe you'll bring your forehead down on them, and you're making, but you need to have a really nice triangle. We try to put our hands too close often, so try to keep them away. You're leaning forward. Basically, you're leaning forward. So whether you have blocks there or not, your gaze is looking forward where those blocks would be. And then maybe you can play with lifting one leg or the other. Being kind, being patient, letting go. If it doesn't work, it's fine. Letting go of what the pose should look like. But what you're trying for is that you're almost trying to find a shape that it seems impossible. But you're just, all it is your movement forward. And then I don't even have any weight on my toes because I moved so far forward that my feet automatically come up. So allowing that rigidity of your thought, if you think you cannot do it, to let go. You still might not be able to do it, or you might get a step further, but just letting go of what you think you can or can't do, or what you think is possible or is not possible. So playing here. Otherwise, if you decided that you prefer to be in the squat, you can find movement here, playing with whatever feels good. So any kind of movement. You can open through the chest and close through the chest. So play, a moment of play wherever you might be. Excellent. And then when you're ready, you can continue to go if you're really enjoying this or you're having fun playing. We're coming down onto your butt, coming down onto the butt. Right, we're going to lengthen through the legs. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, lean forward. Now it might be that we can't lean very far forward with a straight back, So you can bend your knees a bit. So listen to your body. Inhale up. Exhale, reaching forward, really reaching. And then we can bring the arms up again. Exhale, reaching, reaching, reaching. Maybe chest gets to the legs. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reaching here. And one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, finding length. While hands are going to come up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now we're going to find a way to come down onto the backs, but you can maybe lift through the legs. And we're going to bring the arms up overhead. And exhale, coming up. So we're back into our boat pose. Inhale, lengthening. So we're almost down on the ground with the arms up overhead, and then we come up into a boat pose. Lengthen here. And one more time. And then we just come down onto the backs. Excellent. And relax. Now, you've got options again. You can come into a happy baby and find some movement from side to side. If you prefer, and I know the kids were playing with this earlier, to come into a full wheel, you can bring your fingertips in towards your toes, elbows squeezing towards each other, and then you can maybe lift up onto the top of your head. And then you can play with coming all the way up. You're trying to push your body over your fingers and lifting. So play with whichever pose suits you. Happy baby or full wheel. Excellent. Noticing where you're at and breathing here. Also, if you want to play again with coming into the pose that we worked with originally, where we're coming through bridge and arms up, we can work through that pose also. Finding that flow, using it to find your breath also, matching your movement with your breath, or your breath with your movement. Deep breaths. And then the knees are going to come in towards the chest. You can play with dropping them over to one side, maybe looking the other way, keeping your shoulder of that opposite arm down, coming through center and coming over the other direction. So just finding a little bit more movement than we normally do here in these spinal twists. So noticing, and if your mind, just notice what your mind thinks of these different ways of doing things, and see if you can let go of any rigidity that might be there. Excellent. Knees into chest. Give yourself a really loving hug, an unconditional hug here. Life is really hard. So being there for yourself really helps to allow you to be able to deal with change and impermanence. So breathing, hugging yourself. Excellent. And then you can just check in with yourself. Is there anything else that you need before coming into Shavasana? So if you've got one pose that you were like, oh, I wish we did that today, you can go for that. If you're just ready for Shavasana, then go to Shavasana. Up to you. Before we get settled into Shavasana, just making sure you've got lots of space. Shoulders pressed down, your toes just fall to the side, your palms are face up. And before we get still and find some stillness, sometimes there's stillness in water too, let's just shake everything out. So shaking the wrists, shaking the fingers, shaking the arms, maybe shaking the legs. So you might feel a little silly, maybe there's no one there to see you except for you guys seeing me. Doesn't matter. So just shake everything out And then you can let go and find some stillness. Give yourself the gift here of really just letting go. There's nothing you need to do. This pose is a gift. You can let go of control of the breath. You can feel your body being pulled down by gravity towards the center of the earth. And then just be in this moment. Your body is made up of water. I think it's about 60% if I'm correct. So just allowing that to settle. Finding a little bit of movement in your body. So wriggling your fingers and toes, maybe just noticing each finger and each toe as you move it. Maybe circling through that right ankle, you might pick up that leg and just circle that foot in one direction and the other. And then the same with the left ankle. Maybe also working with the right wrist, circling in both directions, and the left. And then just moving your head slowly from side to side. Moving the arms up overhead, reaching, finding length. And then bringing knees into chest, giving yourself a final hug of the clasp. Maybe moving just gently from side to side, still with that fluidity, with that movement. Find that comforting rock. And then slowly moving over to your right side, coming into fetal pose, feeling the hard, solid ground beneath you, there to support you. pressing yourself up into a seated pose. So finding anything that works well to allow your spine to be really super long. You can bring your thumbs and your pinkies touching with your palms face up, just resting on your knees or your thighs. Finding that length through the spine. And we're just going to pause here for a small guided meditation. So eyes should be gently closed if it feels okay, or just with a soft gaze. And perhaps just imagining yourself somewhere by water. So you could be by the sea, by a river, by a lake. And then just see yourself, imagine yourself going into that body of water. So just slowly feeling that water surrounding you, the temperature of the water, how that softness feels, right? Or it's indescribable how water feels, really. It's quite challenging because it moves as you enter the water. So just imagine yourself getting immersed in that water. Maybe if you like to swim under the water, maybe taking a deep breath in and then holding your breath and swimming underwater and seeing what you notice going under. And as you surface, exhaling and inhaling again, you might do that a few times. Notice maybe if there's sun rays on the water or on your back. Just feeling yourself surrounded by that liquid that's soft but really powerful and strong. Taking a few breaths here. Surrounded by the water. And then when you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out of the body of water that you're in. Just maybe walk over to the side, find somewhere lovely and warm to sit. Allow the drops of water to come off your body, roll off your body, or get dried by the sun. Feeling recuperated. And having absorbed some of that strength, that power, that flexibility. Bringing your hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out to the sides and all the way up as though you're moving your arms through water. And exhaling, bringing the hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and up. And exhaling, hands to heart center. One more time, reaching out and up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Finding gratitude towards yourself for taking time for your body and mind today. And perhaps also in this world that's quite challenged at the moment, seeing if we can send out some of that powerful energy, water energy, out into the world. And then inhaling, bringing the hands up to the third eye center. Always a pleasure to guide you through your practice. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you so much.